Welcome, Cancerians, Cancer sun signs, Cancer risings, and Cancer moon signs. This reading is for you. You may receive this reading at any time. However, regardless of when you receive this reading, it was recorded on the 4th of November of 2025, right before the moon was at its apex of being full during the time of Scorpio season. The second decan, which rules our closest family, the people closest in our life, our inner circle, and our home life, and our chosen family, and our personal well-being. So if you get this reading 6 months from now, or a month from now, or a week from now, the reading is still applicable. But if you want more information on the origin of this reading, or you want more things to look into, look back to November 4th, 2025. Quantum entanglement still applies, and you can check and see what was going on in your life at that time for more information or more clues as to what some of these things mean. So in honor of you Cancerians, I made myself a lovely beverage today. And I thought about even making a little snack to go along with this. I would encourage you, if you want to, pause the video, excuse me, while I rub my nose. If you feel like pausing the video to go make yourself a warm beverage or a snack, maybe you already have one. Hopefully you do. If you're taking good care of yourself, Cancerians, you will have something nice to go along with your self-care reading for the day. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So the astrology right now, there's a grand trine in water, and what that represents is Cancer is a water sign, Scorpio is, Pisces is. Water represents the archetypical images and symbols of anything that represents emotions, the dream world, as in the dreams that you have that are daydreams that are oftentimes for Cancerians visions. They have visions during the daytime hours. Also evening time dreams, emotions, intuition is a big one. Water represents intuition. It also represents from where all life is birthed. So water is like the ultimate mama energy. And there is no such thing as the perfect mother. So luckily we have water, and we can take care of our water and keep it clean. And the feeling of being a Cancer or Cancerian energy can be very much like, for other people, it can feel like once they're in, it can feel like they're up to warm water, up to their shoulders, just very cozy. The kinesthetic feeling, however, for a lot of Cancerians can often be like walking through quicksand or walking through mud. Things can just feel so intensely heavy in the world. So knowing that, I have chosen a deck that is a little less esoteric, because in my experience of Cancer, they've got the esoteric realm pretty down pat. They're kind of in the middle between Pisces and Scorpio. Scorpio is the water that you find on Earth. So Scorpio would be more like a pond, or would be like quicksand on the earth. Kind of churning and held in earth, whereas Cancer is more like the water that's along the shore of the ocean. Neither Cancer nor Scorpio are the deepest. Scorpio would be so shallow that it's like on earth. It's like, but it's definitely not shallow in its feelings. It's definitely all about transmutative properties, transmutative experiences. But Cancerian it's very much like it very much holds the knowledge of the depths as it brings it to earthly type experiences, like institutions, like Cancer can be the bridge between the depths of spirit and spirit's purpose, and how that is used on earth, because they're the shoreline. Cancerians tend to have the esoteric purposes down, like the spiritual purpose for us to be on this planet is to feel our feelings, and Cancerians feel the feelings. So this is going to be less about the empathetic, like woo-woo reading, and it's going to be a little more grounding, some practical. I'm reaching for decks that are a little more practical. Excuse me. In order to assist in helping ground that, ground and use practically. Cancer can be very concerned with security and practicality. I love that. I love Cancer. I have a high degree of Cancer in Saturn in my chart. Okay, so I've drawn a card for you, Cancers, and this is a card from a deck called Banned Books. And the Banned Books deck is a tarot deck that has a different banned book for every tarot card. So here we have the Death card. The Death card is one of the 20 cards that are major arcana. I believe it's 20 cards. Major arcana cards kind of have to do with the fated archetypical experiences that we all have. So in tarot, the Death card is not literal. It means that the way of life has come to an end. The way it has to do with, let's see, like let's say you've graduated from one year and you are about to start another year. So maybe you finished junior high and now you're going into high school, or you finished high school and you're going into college, or you finished a marriage and you are starting single life, or you finished single life and you're beginning a marriage, or you have raised your children and now the children are out of the home. So it's time for that new chapter of life where the patriarchy would call it empty nest syndrome. But we all know that that's BS, right? We know that like when the children leave the nest and they are grown, then it is the duty of the human to go forth and prosper, go to those Paris cafes in Paris and all that jazz. Start really living, and get more in touch with living for the self, because it is through living for the self that one is able to continue to give the way that a Cancer gives, that emotional security, that emotional understanding, that that warmth, that acceptance. Cancer can rejuvenate and revitalize that by going into taking good care of themselves and choosing themselves when they are at the end of chapters and beginning new chapters. So whatever you've been doing up until now, except for life in general must go on. Like, this is not a card that means the literal. This is a metaphorical process of life. Like, the metaphor is like moving, celebrating what was and moving on from it, or celebrating it to the best of one's capability. So the book that is recommended for you to reread, Cancerians, if you have already read it, The Color Purple, I believe that's by Alice Walker. And so you are being encouraged to read this book. There is information in this book about you that's going to help you with things like feeling like you are related to, feeling like you are understood, how how epic it can be to feel as deeply as you do, and to be on the outside of situations and belief systems and it's exactly where you were meant to be. However, you're also meant for newer experiences, entirely different experiences than you've ever known before. This year with Aquarius moving into Pluto, it's really pushing everyone to be outside of the box, and try new things and live a new life, and live in ways that are beyond what you ever imagined before. So maybe you always dreamed of traveling around the world and collecting coins. Do it. Maybe you're not doing it because you feel a sense of responsibility and practicality to a family. And I guarantee you that that is more ego-based than it is soul-based. If you were to stay in your situations where you are feeling the responsibility of caretaking and not live the dream of traveling around the world and collecting those coins and following your favorite band. If you know, and this is something you don't have to do it forever, but you can do it for a month. You can do it for, you can, whatever it is. It could be something as simple as you've always wanted to sell pottery in a seaside stormy town, and that was a dream that you thought you put to rest a long time ago, but something is telling you, maybe it's even nightmares are telling you, like, you need a whole new way of life. You need to break free from some of the shackles that are imposed upon you environmentally or situationally, and embrace all that life has to give you. So that's the download I'm getting for you for Cancerians. I'm going to go ahead and draw from one more deck. So that was the Banned Books deck. And the Death card has to do with the end of one chapter and the beginning of the next. It is not a literal card. I repeat, not a literal. It is metaphor. And the next deck that I'm going to be shuffling from, this is a deck that is very much like basic, just practical rememberings, like, hey, remember this. And I am calling forth the one that is most practical for the Cancerian sun signs, rising signs, and moon signs. There's something that I really love about Cancers. I'm a Pisces, but I have a high degree of Cancer and Saturn. And one thing that I really love about Cancers is, there we go. They are so good at like protecting their Cancerian shell when they need to, when they decide to like protect their inner world. They're just so good at it. I really respect that about Cancers. They're really good at being like, nope, nothing gets in this little like Cancerian crab shell, kind of like a clam. Like they could just boom, shut that, like, and yeah. And I think that's really cool. As a Pisces, I have a harder time. I'm like so great at forgiving. I forgive, and I'm just like, yeah, sure, that person's a misogynist, and they said that awful thing that makes them sound like they're a total Nazi, and like all this stuff. And oh, they said that racist thing there, and then I just forgive so easily, and I'm just like, but they have potential, and like there's all these good things too. But Cancers are really good at being like, they had their chance to, like, I thought they were like this, and then they had their chance, and then they proved me wrong, and I'm so disappointed, and like, I shouldn't be surprised, but it still hurts, and that's it. They're not gonna get a chance now. Like, like, done. And if, like, Cancers, like, if you're letting them back in, you better really, like, believe that they are capable. And sometimes it's a good idea to let them back in if you are realizing like, well, it's just that they wanted something different and they were honest all along about them wanting something different, but I believed that it could be what I wanted it to be and I didn't listen. There's always those exceptions, but I just love the way Cancers can have really good, strong boundaries. It probably doesn't feel like it though for the person experiencing it and putting up the boundary, because I would imagine it doesn't feel like it because like you feel so much. Okay, so the card that I got for you today here for the final card for this reading is a consistent formula gives me consistent results. Like learning to understand the basics of mathematics and then having the successful experience of understanding the results of their applications. Once you have a formula for understanding your world that is always consistent, it will yield consistent results to you. So this is really interesting because it is just so Cancerian. In the sense that Cancer is similar to Taurus because Cancer is part earth, like they're the shoreline of the ocean. So they are like, they do have the ability to walk on earth. And similar to like Taurus, for example, like those routines and those structures and the consistency with that yields positive results. So this card here is like, you gotta stop doing everything you've been doing up until now, whether it's been raising the babies and they're all grown and they're out of the house, or whether it's been that job that even though like you love that job and you love its purpose and you've made so many, they've given you raises this year and they've given you promotions and you've advanced in it. You also know that like you need to get out of there. You know that it's not everything that you want in life. And a lot of you Cancerians, like when I've talked to you about like reincarnation, almost every Cancerian I think that I've ever talked to about reincarnation, and this might not be everybody. I mean, I'm sure it's not everybody, but in my experience, when I've asked Cancerians about reincarnation and what they think about it and whether they believe in it, and if they think that they would come back as a bug, or if they think they come back as another human being, or they are always like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to come back. Like they want, and I believe that the shadow aspect of that is that you want to live your life right here, right now. So, maybe it's that guitar that maybe you've wanted to be in a band, or maybe you wanted to learn more than those 3 chords on that guitar, but it's been years that you've been stuck there because of all the trauma that happened around you every time you were practicing your guitar as a kid, and the way your parents wouldn't quit fighting whenever you would try to practice, and then they would tell you to put down the guitar and like get off of it already and quit causing the racket, and whatever it is, like the stuckness, it's got to stop, and it's time to start living. It's time to really make those steps and live it. No matter how abandoned everyone's going to feel by not having their tissues or the comfort that's provided by the Cancerian energy that you provide, you still need to be going off on your own and doing what it is that you deeply dream of, and not waiting for someday. Someday I'll do it. The time is now. Like this is it. You got to do it now. And rest assured that, that might seem so scary. What? Give up everything I've ever known and give up the entire path that I'm on to go do something different? What do you mean? But this is telling you, you'll still have who you are. Wherever you go, there you are to some degree. Your whole life can change just by moving from one place to another, but you're still you. And you can change into like a whole practically different person, but you're still you. There's still these core things. And one of the core things about Cancerians is knowing that the basics of mathematics is that you're having successful experiences because you understand the result of your applications a little bit every day. A little bit every day over time gives you the consistent results that you desire. You can do that anywhere. Even if you're starting new somewhere, I urge you, go for it. Begin that new life and that new transition. And read this book. If you haven't read it already, read it. If you've already read it and you've read it before, read it again. Every time you read a book, you're going to find something. But when you first get that book, open it up and look at what words pop out on the page at you. If you're not that kind of person where like words just kind of like pop out on the page at you, decide ahead of time, I'm going to open this book and the third line or the first line is going to be the message for me. So this is your book. Check it out. Leave a comment if you like. Like and share this, and that would be so sweet if you like and share this, and share it with other Cancerian suns or moons or risings, or even just people you want to understand, like you better as a Cancer. Share it. And all that jazz. Cheers, Cancers.